Good day, everyone, and welcome back to another Explore the World Live Coffee Chat. And this morning, my guest is Kazundra Brown from Intrepid Travel. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jen. I am doing very well. I am in Ontario, so we are now going into stage one of reopening. So something to be excited about. The weather is great.
Oh, yes.
Travel,
Perfect patio weather when they reopened on Friday.
it is. It's lovely, lovely. You can
Yes,
feel the travel industry. There's good hope. We're moving in the right direction.
for sure. For sure. Yes. And the rumblings at the government level definitely make that a little bit more positive, that there might be some movement there on lifting of the restrictions and such for the double vaxxers. So
Mhm.
looking forward to when we can get our travelers in the sky again.
Definitely.
And myself too. I can't wait too.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a
So
long.
let's start off with what. Yes, no, it has been, and you know what? It's one of those times we'll always look back in history, but when we're in it, it feels like it's just so long.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's jump in, and what would be your kind of earliest or most favorite travel experience or memory?
Yeah, so when I was young, growing up in Canada, my parents and I didn't travel very well, really ever internationally. So it was a lot of road trips. My mom and myself would travel to Newfoundland quite frequently. We have family out there. But my first trip that sparked the bug to travel, when I remember saying this is something I want to do more frequently, was a trip to Europe in high school. And
Mm.
that kind of tweaked it. I said, oh, I'd love to travel. How do I do more of this? But the defining moment in my travel career and persona was in university. I had the opportunity to study abroad, and I was studying tourism and sustainability at the time. And this opportunity came up to travel, and there was a few options, one of them being Thailand. And at the time, I had no interest in traveling to Asia. I thought, Thailand, I don't know anything about the culture, the food, the language. It's so far away. It's so scary. I probably will never do it on my own. Let me do it with school. And that changed everything. Um, I was young at the time. I headed overseas, left my family, had some incredible eye-opening experiences, and it completely changed me as a person. I really got out of my comfort zone. I came out of my shell, and from that moment on, I think I just grew so much as a person. And for that fact, 5, 6 months in Asia, it completely changed me, and that was really my favorite experience by far.
And that truly is what travel is meant to be, right? Is just that world of exploration for both yourself and for the destination you're visiting, and that immersive experience with the locals, and having that transformative experience that you took away that really did last a lifetime.
Absolutely. And I think something really lovely is when you're in a country for a long bit of time, even if you're doing a multi-day experience in one country or a central region, is you get to learn and know about the destination a little bit more, a little bit more intimately.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, and that's why Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, will always have a special place in my heart.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. How long have you been in your role with Intrepid?
Yeah, so I've been with Intrepid now for 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. I've always been based in Toronto, Canada. When I started in our business development role, or now it's called industry sales manager. And I started off looking after a smaller territory. So I was just looking after our Eastern Ontario travel advisors, and that grew to Quebec, then all of Eastern Canada, Manitoba to Newfoundland. And now I look after our industry partners and travel advisors all throughout the Americas. So whether they
Okay.
are in Winnipeg, uh, Baltimore in the US, or maybe even Buenos Aires, I connect with all those advisors. So it's interesting, but with the pandemic and all of us working remotely and everyone using Zoom and things like this, it's a lot easier to connect.
Of course, that is being the one benefit, is that people have said that they have connected more with people that they may not have, just simply because it's all being done virtually.
Absolutely, and less commuting.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I know what the answer is here, but could you tell our viewers what Intrepid is really known for?
Yes. So I would say two key things, because of course we do small group experiences all around the world. But when we talk about Intrepid, two things that really come to mind, if you've even heard a little bit about us, is cultural immersion and sustainability. So our tours are really focused on offering insights into local life, getting our travelers off the beaten track, as overused as that term is. And our travelers don't just want to see a place, they want to be immersed, they want to try something new, they often want to make a positive impact along the way. So I like to say, if as a traveler, if you like to or want to taste, touch, smell, get culturally immersed, or try something new in destination, then you're definitely an Intrepid traveler. The second thing is sustainability. So it's not just the travel industry that is hearing about Intrepid, it is all industries, because we're really big advocates for sustainability. So on our trips, things like being 100% carbon offset, regardless of where you're traveling. So every train, plane, automobile, tuk-tuk that you take is taken care of. Gender equality, becoming B Corp certified in 2018, banning elephant rides back in 2014, and the work that we do with other partners. So right now, we've been doing this for 32 years. Right now, we're advocating for other people in the travel industry, other travel operators and suppliers, to work on how they can decarbonize their business, put animal welfare practices into place, and also talking to a lot of advisors, because this is a trending topic. And 4.5, 5 years ago, when I started at Intrepid, talking about sustainability and responsible travel was a lot more cumbersome of a conversation to have.
Yeah, no, it was kind of sitting over here in the travel equation, and now it's getting more of that main seat at the table for sure.
Absolutely. So I always encourage advisors, if they're not having the conversation about it yet, open the conversation. You don't need to know everything at the start. It doesn't need to be super overwhelming, but it's definitely a conversation that I think every advisor should be having about their business, with their clients, with the suppliers that they're working with.
And it's gotten a lot easier. It has, whether, there's even options when you're upon checkout in some locations or flights that you can do a carbon offset directly, or you can work with foundations, both right in the country or through an organization like yourselves that might have links to, that is giving back to that community tourism sector and those local vendors and businesses that need our support. And, it's a great way to have a win-win with travel.
Absolutely. And everyone wants to feel good. So
yes.
Right? If you know that your tourist dollar is going to make a positive impact in a community, you're hiring, or we're hiring and training local people, you know that you're not making a detriment to the environment that you're traveling through, and you can see where that's happening. I think that's really great. I mean, I think when we buy products, if the package says, recycled, or 10% of your donation goes to save the rainforest, or if you buy a pair of Tom's shoes, a pair of Tom's shoes goes to someone who does not have shoes in a third world country, you feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it. You walk away with your own experience for travel, and then also knowing that you've left something positive in that country too. So it's good. How does Intrepid see travel rebounding now that the world is starting to open up again?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, the trends that we're seeing now is that we're starting to work out of the area of seeing the situation and working through it. And now we are seeing the rebound coming into effect. In Canada, it's a little bit slower. We know that just because of the travel restrictions. In the US, it's really rebounding a lot faster. But we know that when it does rebound fully, it's going to be strong. And a few things that we're really focused on, but we're also seeing is trending, is rebuilding with purpose, rebuilding sustainably, rebuilding responsibly, and rebuilding in a smart way. So a lot of advisors are reaching out now on, how do I rebrand myself? How do I learn about sustainability, or this niche or this niche? How do I become specialized? How am I going to relate to my customers? How am I going to use social media and work online to do that better? When we talk about trends, right now, and I won't tell you what our top destination is, but we're seeing bucket list trips are doing really well. Trips that are getting people outdoors and active are doing quite well. Domestic is also doing really well right now. In regards to the travel style, small group, which we all
Yes.
know. I mean, COVID is doing that for us, but small group travel, it's a great thing that we've been doing this since, you know, we started. So maximum group size of 12 or 16, small group, adventure travel, and sustainability are a couple things that we're seeing that are going to are trending now, and we think are going to continue to be trending into the future.
For sure, for sure. And I think that will continue as we move forward, because the way that people are going to travel is going to be just as important as where they are traveling to. And so with that small group is definitely being on trend. What sort of practices, new protocols have you guys put in place, whether both here or in destination with your guides for COVID and keeping everyone with health and safety in mind?
Yes, so of course, safety has always been the number one priority and concern when traveling, especially with Intrepid. One thing that advisors may not know off the get-go, if they haven't worked with us before, is that we are a vertically integrated business. So we have our own unique system of DMCs, or destination management companies, throughout the regions that we travel through. So if you're traveling through Morocco, we have an office in Marrakesh. Through Kenya, we have an office in Nairobi, and it goes on and on. And having our DMC network means that we have great consistency and quality control, and we can have the same health and safety practices throughout. So that helped us out a lot when the pandemic started and we needed to evacuate and get over 3,000 travelers home to their home country, because we had the legs on the ground, we had the feet on the ground, we had the 24/7 ground support, which thank goodness, because it could have been a lot more challenging, and even helping other travelers on the ground. So with that in place, we've been able to adapt to the changing situation, adapt to the needs, and do full-scale training on our teams in our offices, but also with our DMCs on the ground, our local leaders as well. So when traveling with Intrepid, of course, our travelers are going to be following Intrepid Travel health and safety practices, but our suppliers and the activity operators that we work with and the accommodations all need to meet these standards as well.
Yes.
So before we open a destination, even though the CDC and our governments might say a destination is safe to travel to and other operators are traveling there, we do a full health and safety assessment of the destination to see if it can be opened safely, but also responsibly. So we do this on a monthly basis. So right now we are looking at our September departures to see which ones are going to be opening up to travel. The things, safety is a no-brainer, but responsibility is something sometimes people need a little more explanation. For example, if you're traveling to a country and it's open, that's great. However, if travelers are not getting a negative COVID test and they're not vaccinated, and something happens in destination and they need to go to a hospital or see a doctor, we're putting someone from another country in a hospital bed. And if that country doesn't have the same support system as maybe we do in Canada, that might be adding to the overwhelmingness of the hospital system. So little things like that. We also have our flexible booking policy, which I think is key. Yeah. It's really key. Yeah. So thinking about peace of mind, right now we're seeing a lot of bookings coming in for the latter half of this year, but a lot more into 2022. If travelers book today, they can book and know that their booking is protected. So up until 21 days prior to their departure date, they can cancel, and that deposit will stay on file as a lifetime deposit. If they're not ready to travel now, they can also change that trip. So they can change where their deposit's going. So let's say they were booked on a trip to Peru. They're not ready for Peru in January. They can change to Morocco, or they can change that Peru trip maybe 2 months down the line. As long as it's 21 days prior to departure, there are no change fees on that.
Great.
So
Yeah, and
really,
I think flexibility is going to be key going
yes.
forward for all suppliers, whether it's airlines or tour companies. Just being able to have that will give travelers much more peace of mind.
Definitely, definitely. And that can all be found on our website under the COVID-19 Traveler Hub, as well as requirements for negative COVID-19 tests, as well as vaccinations.
Yes, I think unfortunately that's going to be part of our travel life going forward for the next little while. Is
Yes.
the testing for sure, for sure. So we've talked a couple destinations, Morocco, Peru, etc. What would be either your favorite itinerary with Intrepid, or maybe a few of your top destinations that you love?
Yes. Well, if I talk about where our travelers are headed, our North Americans, it's very interesting during COVID-19, our top selling destination by far, and I haven't been yet, but it's absolutely at the top of my list, is Antarctica.
Ah,
Number one, Antarctica has been our top destination for the past 6 to 9 months now.
wow,
It's
wow.
incredible to see a lot of people doing their seventh continent. Our second top destination right now is Iceland. So
Beautiful.
we have a handful of itineraries in Iceland, ranging from 5 days up to 10 days. And at the current moment, Iceland is selling very, very, very well. And we've had a lot of departure dates sell out. So we have released new departure dates and new itineraries. So for our most popular trip, Iceland Discovery, we now have 35 departures between June and October, which is a lot.
Great.
Uh-huh.
Right. And really, I mean, you can go there year round because in the fall, winter months, you're getting more of the beautiful northern lights. I remember somebody who went a few years back over New Year's, and they just said what a blast that was. And then, of course, our summer months are typical popular ones, just so you can get out and maybe do a little bit more of the outdoor activities before the weather sets in. So it's a great country to explore.
Absolutely. And yeah, I love it for so many reasons, but great outdoors, beautiful. And you're right, you can go winter, summer, spring, fall. And I think if you go in the summer and the winter, you could go twice a year because it's very different.
Different. Yeah. And different parts, right? I mean, you can go and explore different parts each time. It's not a big country, but very diverse in its landscape geology. And there's some volcano that's always erupting.
Absolutely. But it can, as long as it doesn't impact
No.
flights, we're good.
Yeah.
But our third top destination that I'll mention, this destination has been top for Canadians and US citizens, but mainly Canadians. This is our top destination for the last 4 years. It doesn't stray, even though Antarctica's beat it out recently, it's always in the top 5. And
Okay.
multiple itineraries and this destination are in the top 10. And it is Morocco.
Ah.
Morocco. When I started with Intrepid 4.5 5 years ago, I did a Morocco trip to understand why. And it's diverse. North and south are very different. You have the Sahara Desert. There's a lot of unique cultural interactions and experiences you can have. It's not too far away from home. It's easy to pair with a trip to Portugal or Spain, as well as it has this bit of risk.
Exotic.
Yeah, exotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But it's also very safe.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's a full kind of 5 senses where it's the foods and the smells and the tastes and the sounds. So very much an experience unto itself, just with all of that. I know we've had friends who have gone and just even taking tea in the afternoon, and it's just a different world, microcosm there that, as you say, isn't that far away from a travel where you might be just in Europe, whether it is Spain or Portugal.
Absolutely. And I know you were going to ask me about my top destinations or favorite trips, and it's hard to choose. Every trip, different people you meet on the trip and different destinations. But Morocco specifically, going out to the Sahara Desert is by far one of the most magical experiences I've had. Ride a camel out into the dunes. You stay in a Sahara Desert camp. And if anyone is worried about the camp experience, don't worry at all. I highly recommend it. It is worth it. You can do a basics, original, comfort, or premium style camp with us. And in the evening, you're treated to a meal that's prepared for you under the stars. There's dancing, there's singing, there's a bonfire. And what we did on our trip, it was really warm. It was the end of September, early October, but it was still warm in the desert. And in our cabins, or in our tents that we were staying in, it was very warm. So we actually pulled our beds outside and we slept under the stars in the open air. And in the morning, we woke up quite early. I was with my travel partner and my life partner, Mike, and we walked up to the highest sand dune we could find and sat there and waited for sunrise. And we looked around and there was absolutely nothing. It was just sand dunes, a couple camels, and the Berbers who were leading the camels in the desert. And it felt like we were in a movie. I still don't believe that it actually happened.
Right, right. Especially when you're in a city and, you just see people everywhere, and then you go to a place like that and literally you are alone there and you look around. Oh my goodness.
Cool.
That's, yes, I can see why that would be magical, for sure, for sure. One of the things we've talked about, and the small group leads into that, is kind of where niche markets are growing more with travel. So whether it's solo travelers or kind of culinary or women's groups, things like that. What niche markets are you finding are fitting really well with Intrepid?
Well, with Intrepid, you'll notice that I always like to say adventure is for everyone, travel is for everyone. And there's a lot of stereotypes you have to break down when you're talking about adventure travel, but we offer a wide array of themes. So while everything is small group, local, led, sustainable, the forefront, it depends on what your traveler is looking for. So we offer real food adventures, eating your way through a country. We have 40 plus family itineraries, traveling with your little ones. We have small ship cruising and small ship sailing. We have wildlife experiences and safaris. We have those polar trips going down to Antarctica. We have expeditions for the weird, wonderful, wacky trips like going to Mongolia and experiencing the Nadam Festival. Then we also have active. So we've got your cycling, your trekking, and your walking. So depending on your traveler's niche or interest, you can kind of find something that works within Intrepid, as long as they're looking for that grassroots, local-led, immersive experience. As for those two niches you mentioned, solo and women, over 65% of our travelers are female. Women love to travel. It's fantastic. We introduced women's only trips in 2018 for International Women's Day. And it started with Morocco. We added more onto the line: Jordan, Iran, India, Nepal, Turkey, Pakistan. Due to COVID-19, we did scale down that range just a little bit, but we hope to have them back in the future. And they were specifically built for women to travel in places where it can be a little more challenging for women to travel together, or just that men and women can't have the same experience. They're led by women, and you have some unique experiences, like in Kenya, going into a village that is led by women. The women support the community. In Nepal, we trek with only female trekking guides. So actually trekking up a mountain there with female trekking guides. With solo travelers, even though it's group travel, 50% of our travelers come in solo. So there's no mandatory single supplement, which is nice as well. Yeah. And I'll take it one step further, Jen. If your client is looking to do a private group experience, that's where you can really shake up the niche. Because we have DMCs intact, you can take a beautiful Peru trip and visit Machu Picchu like behind me, take one of our itineraries, put it on your date of choice, customize, maybe upgrade the accommodation. Perhaps they're really into birding and you like to go into the Amazon jungle. Perhaps it's culinary. Maybe you have a traveling chef who's going to join on the trip and do cooking experiences throughout Peru as you go along. Forage for local ingredients in the Amazon jungle, visit the local markets, hit up a bar and learn how to make pisco sours. So with private groups, you can even customize a little bit further.
Yes, and that's what's also going to be big on trend is people wanting to take the experience, but then really make it personal for them.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. Excellent. So a couple quick rapid fire questions to finish us off. If Intrepid could be a food, what would you pick?
It would be a home cooked meal by a local.
Nice. Nice. And really, yes, you could just insert whatever location there and just say, yes, it's just made fresh by a local. That's wonderful. And if you could hop on a plane or train right now and go to any destination, where would you like to go?
Oh, I have to say, Jen, it would be to visit my family in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Haven't seen them in a long time, and they've had some pretty strict lockdowns. But if I was traveling
Yeah.
outside of Canada, it would either be, I would take any of these three: back to Indonesia, or a first time trip to either Greece or Turkey. Greece and Turkey together. Jen, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why pick one? Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. And I really appreciate your time with our little coffee chat series. And I hope that this gave the viewers a little bit more insight into Intrepid Travel and what they can expect when they are looking at their next small group experience. Because really, you have so much to offer. Like you said, any travel style, any destination that they want. It's just a matter of making that fit, and your travel advisor can help you with that for sure. So thanks very much. I will sign off, and everyone look forward to our next Explore the World series. And we also have Iceland coming up at the end of June. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon.